Okay, so today we're going to talk about, so first of all, thank you so much for bringing up, I don't know if I'm allowed, what's her name? Not M, I'm going to call you M. Thank you so much, M, for bringing up, M has been off sugar for 3 days, and so she's fatigued and anxious and angry and not starving yet, but she will be. And so we talked about a couple of things that I'd like to clear up. It's cool if I repeat it, right? So we talked about, is it smart to start exercising when we're actually withdrawing from sugar? And yeah, it's a real good idea, you guys, because when we're not having the sugar, we're not stimulating the dopamine receptor in our brain, which is our pleasure center. And so if we're not going to replace the sugar with cocaine, which is basically the only replacement for sugar is cocaine, same receptor, so since we're not all going to start snorting coke, what we are going to do is start exercising. So when we exercise and we stress our body, we release endorphin. Endorphin is our body's morphine. And so we want to have that endorphin on board. Also, exercising increases serotonin. Serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters. We know we've all heard of SSRIs, right? Serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Zoloft or Prozac or whatever. That allows our brain to utilize serotonin that's there. Exercise allows our brain to use that serotonin better. When we're using sugar, alcohol, opiates, cocaine, our brains stop reuptaking those normal neurotransmitters that are there to help us feel better, because we're feeding our brain with something so our brain doesn't have to use its own stuff. And so when we stop feeding the brain, when we stop changing the brain's chemistry with some type of drug or anything that's mind altering like sugar, right? Sugar, cocaine, same. When we stop doing that, then we have to retrain the brain to use this stuff that's there that we used to use before we used sugar. And so those things, like we said, serotonin and endorphin, we help to increase that by exercising. So even especially in the beginning, the people, real quick note for the people that are just post-bypass surgery, until your doctor says you're allowed to exercise, you're not allowed to exercise. Once your doc does, even if you're exercising for 2 minutes at a time, even if you're taking a brisk 2-minute walk and just increasing your heart rate a little bit, decreases our insulin resistance, which decreases our insulin level, which starts to help to decrease our fat. When we increase our heart rate, again, we're going to help to reuptake that serotonin and the endorphin in our brain. That's there to help us feel better. So it was an amazing question. I don't remember who asked if it was okay. It's definitely okay. And you know what? You just stopped eating sugar and you started working out, so you're just pissed off all the way around. So it's awesome. For me, you might as well get rid of all the pissed off at one time, right? Instead of spreading out the pissed offness, right? And so thanks so much for sharing about that, yeah, that you're pissed off. Yeah, drug withdrawal isn't fun, you guys. Sugar withdrawal is a drug withdrawal, and it's just not fun. And it's just the way that it is. And let me tell you something, nobody dies. Alcohol withdrawal without help, you die from. You can die from alcohol withdrawal. Opiates, coke, cigarettes, sugar, you don't die from that withdrawal. You might want to die, you might want to kill everybody else you know, but you don't die from it. You have to remember that you just feel kind of yucky, and if you can remember that or have the attitude that, okay, I've had the flu before, and when I had the flu, this is exactly how I felt, except maybe I wasn't so pissed off. But this is exactly how I felt physically. And then 5 days or 6 days or 7 days, I got better. Yes, ma'am.
Like that yucky feeling that I'm feeling.
It's going to go away.
Yeah.
Now what that triggers is that now that I feel like crap and I'm angry, I want to have a glass of wine.
Of course you do. So thank you for saying that. So of course you do. So why is that, guys?
And by a glass, I mean 2 bottles.
Of course, yeah, duh. You're talking to an addict, so I know your glass of wine don't mean a glass of wine.
She replaces one substance with another.
That's true. And remember, when we don't feel well, we fall back on our learned behavior. What's our brain's learned behavior? I'm hungry, I'm angry, I'm lonely, I'm tired, I'm not feeling well. What do? I use.
That's what I'm saying.
I pick up.
Oh my God, I would like.
Of course, right? I want to go home and get drunk, so I don't have to feel like crap. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that. So you're going to find that a lot of people go from one addiction to the other as they're getting rid of their one. So we see a lot of people in recovery who are recovering drug addicts or recovering alcoholics, and they're now obese. We see people who are obese, especially people who are post-gastric bypass, because when you're post-gastric bypass and you can't get the food down, you can still drink. And so we have a lot of, if you Google it, a lot of post-gastric bypass surgery patients who are getting thin become alcoholics. And you have to remember that a brain that's addicted is a brain that's addicted. So there are very few things, like once you're an addict, there are very few addictive substances or mind-altering substances that we could use safely. Once our switch is flipped, once we flip that switch for some reason, our brains already completely change. And so I'm not the girl that could ever have one drink. And I'm not the girl that's ever going to be able to, oh, well, I have, whatever, I have a boo-boo on my finger, I think I'll take 3 Percocet. It's not going to work like that for me. I don't do cocaine, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to do a line of cocaine. So, and there are some things that some people can do, and we can talk about that later privately, but I'm going to tell you that addiction's addiction. And so we see cross-addiction is when I'm addicted to something, I'm addicted to something else. What we actually see is not just cross-addiction, but completely replacing that addiction with something else. So I'm not sure if that's still considered cross-addiction. But that's what it is. And so for that exact reason that you said, you're like, now I'm pissed off, right? I'm angry, I'm tired. In a way, you're probably a little lonely because you're inside your head a little bit, because you're probably feeling sorry for yourself a little bit, which we all do when we're withdrawing. And immediately your brain says, hey, you don't feel well? Let's do a line of Coke. Let's drink 3 bottles of wine. Let's do something so that I don't have to feel, period. Not only that emotionally I don't have to feel, but even physically we're not used to feeling, right? Because we're always stuffing ourselves with something that's changing our brain chemistry so that we don't have to feel. Does anybody have any questions about that? I'm really glad that you guys brought that up, because that's something that we don't talk about that much, that we should probably be talking about at the beginning of every single meeting. So it would be great if everybody, if we talk about cravings, if I'd like to go around the room, or if anybody would like to share about that and just have a feeling about when they're craving or are craving right now, or I'm going to ask you how you're doing.
Pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good. No cravings right now? I don't mean right now at the second. I mean in general.
I did have a craving, like over the weekend. Like I just wanted fried chicken.
Yeah. And we talked about fried chicken, remember?
On
You said that
Sunday.
like fried chicken is like
I
you were
just
making
really
love
wanted
to
it.
the thought
Oh
of the
my
fried
God.
chicken, man.
And what was
It
it
was
last
like,
night?
yeah, like
Yes,
the best
right.
affair you were almost gonna have, right? Right?
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
giggle about it because we're in a room full of addicts, but it's the truth, man. Like that's the way that it is. We are full of emotion and fantasies about the stuff that we're choosing to give up. We really romanticize our addiction.
Yeah.
And so what happens
Because
is,
we have an emotional relationship with food.
that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
We have that emotional relationship. We just forget that the food or the alcohol or the opiates or the whatever, that fried chicken is the person that you have this emotional relationship with, that you can't wait to see, that you feel really comforted, that beats the shit out of you every time you see him. Every single time. So it's like the same as any other abusive relationship. And so you have an emotional, abusive relationship with food, right? You take in the food and the food abuses you. After, you feel wasted, you feel angry, you have self-loathing, you're guilty, you're ashamed, you get the F-its, and so you do it all over again. Because you know what, I did it an hour ago, what's the difference? It's already Saturday, I'm gonna start again on Monday. Right? How many times have we started again on Monday?
Every day.
Right?
Every
week.
Every
Our
day.
whole life, we're gonna start right every day.
Not
We're gonna start
Monday.
again
And
on
then you
Monday.
screw up on Monday and you still start the next
Yeah,
one.
don't matter. It's just one week.
Oh,
And then
Monday.
Tuesday is a better day to
Yeah.
start, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And then on
Yeah.
Tuesday, for sure, Wednesday is the day.
Right. Wednesdays, because it's
This
the middle of
time
the
I'm
week.
serious. This
Hump
time
day.
I'm serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lies.
And then
that
I
we
asked
tell
myself,
ourselves.
what would be different tomorrow than today?
So true.
I
crave all the
also
time.
had, in that thought of this specific thing that I wanted a craving for, I went to the grocery store and it's really easy to like rationalize like, oh, this might be okay. So I picked up like a thing from Publix that had a salad that had fried chicken in it.
In it.
And then I was like, rationale.
That's right. I'm gonna drink soda in my
Totally.
tequila
Offset,
today.
you
Instead of
know,
drinking
the-
of course.
Yeah. I mean,
Angie, there's something wrong over there.
and I walked around Publix with it, and it was just like weighing heavily on me.
Oh.
Eventually, like I like
Waiting
put it
heavily
back.
on me. You said it, yes?
Yeah, I put it back eventually because I was like, well, you haven't had this sort of food in so many months. You can't just now go and do it because your brain is, you're an addict. So I eventually made a different choice.
I'm going to tell you, you guys know I relapsed after 7 years. I have closer to a year and a half again right now. And obviously, even when I had 7 years, there was something in me. You know, once it was introduced to me, you know, once I had that drug in my system again, and it doesn't matter why I had the drug, and it doesn't matter that I had a prescription for the drug, which just made it so much easier. Okay, I'm in pain, I went to the doctor, I have a prescription, I'm taking it for the right reason. I honestly didn't believe that my brain was going to go back into addiction mode the way that it did, but it did. And that's the dangers of being an addict, and that's the danger, same danger. You guys know I bring up drugs and alcohol because the danger is the same. And so what happens is you have that piece of fried chicken, and then you're like, well, that was fine. You know, I hardly threw up. I only threw up a little bit, so, you know, next time I'll eat it more slowly, right? This time I'll eat it in the salad. You know, I drink tequila out of the bottle, so what I'll do is I'll just do it by the shot, and I'll pour it into some diet soda so that it won't hit me as fast, and then I probably won't get re-addicted. They say in the rooms of AA, every time I picked up on a lie. And that's absolutely the truth. So anytime we pick up our drug of choice, you guys, we're a lying. And the person that we're lying to is ourselves. And so when you say it's going to be okay, I'm just going to do it today, or this one will make the craving go away, you know, or I could have it in a salad, or I'm going to start again on Monday, you know. My favorite one is, who's going to know anyway? Who's going to know, right?
Yes.
But I'm going to know, right? And how do we feel after we use? Because that's the part that we always have to get to. So let's play that out, okay? I'm going to play it out with the both of you. So you go and you're in Publix and you get your very beautifully wrapped salad that has just a little bit of the fried chicken that you've been practically hallucinating for, and you eat it. And then after, what happens?
I feel awful.
You feel awful. Why? Tell me what the feelings are. So feeling awful is cool. What are the feelings that are attached to that behavior?
I mean, it's kind of like defeat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you work so hard to live your life a certain way, all of a sudden you feel like you have been overcome by something as simple as food.
We call that powerlessness, you guys. Right? So it's powerlessness,
Yep.
and it's giving in to that, right? And we feel guilty. We feel guilty and we feel ashamed. And you know, it's not just that if we think about it that I let somebody else down, but I let myself down. I let myself down. And you know, my self-esteem wasn't great to begin with, or I wouldn't be an addict. And then what I do is I do the thing that keeps my self-esteem where it is, and so I feel even more worthless, and even more ashamed, and even more embarrassed. And when I do it, the hardest thing for me to do is to reach out to somebody else. Right?
I mean, do you have to have low self-esteem to be an addict?
To be an addict? Well, when I'm in active addiction, I'm going to tell you that I feel like dog shit about myself. I live in fear, and I feel like shit every single second of the day. Right? If not, there would have been anything for an addict. There would have been any reason for me to stop. If I can use and feel great about my life and think everything's perfect and not be guilty and not be ashamed and carry on and feel well physically, mentally, whatever, why would anybody stop? If it wasn't getting in the way of everything. You guys, usually we change when the pain is great enough. pain is a very fantastic motivator for people when there's something negative going on, and so we usually wait until we feel that shame. So when you decided to do what you did, when you decided to make that change, it was because you were feeling how? Before, what was it, 3 months ago? When you woke up and you said, I'm done. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make this change. How are you feeling?
In that moment and wanting to make the change, I was just done.
Right,
Like,
you were
just
done.
thinking-
How are you feeling about yourself?
At that time? I mean, I thought I was okay. I mean, because sometimes it's easy to like put on a facade that you're okay.
Right, so thank you for saying that. So, I'm not going to yell at you yet because, like we're practically on national TV. But yeah, putting on that facade, and so that's the truth, right? That's the stuff that we show everybody else, right? Oh, I'm just doing this because I want to lose a couple of pounds. Bullshit. I'm doing it because I don't feel well physically. I can't walk up the steps. I can't tie my shoes. I can't fit in clothes. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed and I'm stuck and I'm scared. I'm scared because I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know how to stop and I don't know how to stop lying. Right? What does that do to our self-esteem? I can't wake up in the morning without lying to myself and to everybody else that I know. How does that make me feel? Integrity-wise. Can I walk with integrity when I'm lying, even if it's just me lying to myself? No. One of the spiritual principles that we learn about, you guys, is integrity. Right? I'm going to tell you one of the greatest gifts that recovery has given me is that I don't gotta lie. I don't gotta lie to you, and I don't gotta lie to me. And it's really an amazing thing when you think about it. And so no, you don't have to lie to yourself anymore. And you don't have to say that it's gonna be okay. And you don't have to walk around in fear. Right? You could just know that you're moving in the right direction. And you guys, there's a community out here to help you. We made Why Wait for Recovery because there are places out there like OA, which I think any 12-step program is amazing. But we wanted to make a place where people feel comfortable coming to, where they could say whatever they want to say, where you can crosstalk, where you can get somebody else's opinion, and where you can actually learn together how to grow as a community in recovery and to be there to support each other and help each other. That, which you didn't have before, right? And so when you're alone, you're alone. You know that if you're in Publix, by the way, my patients call me from Publix all the time. Dr. Felice, is it okay if I have da-da-da-da-da? It makes me happy. Did you text me 50 times already? It makes me so happy because it means that you care about me well. Oh, yeah. For sure. You should see my text
story
from my
about being
patients.
allergic. I'm like, am I allergic to honey? Am I allergic to oatmeal?
Yeah.
Am I allergic
Yes.
to
And I
There's
tell
a story
her,
about being
yeah.
allergic to shrimp?
Yeah. And I tell her, listen, I don't expect to drop you off in Japan and have you speak Japanese. Right? If you went to school to learn Japanese and you're
But you always say you don't talk about specific programs, you just talk about the general, about us.
Yeah,
Like
no,
you meant,
absolutely. Absolutely.
So-
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, but for specific foods in the beginning when you don't know, you text me. When you're scared or you're thinking, maybe I'm going to make the wrong decision, why didn't you reach out to somebody? We talked about this last time. This is a very important point. Why didn't you reach out to somebody? Why didn't you text Ange and say, hey, I'm in Publix and I'm just about to buy the fried chicken? Right? Why?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
I don't know.
I feel like in that space
Mm-hmm.
for myself that
Mhm.
I don't qualify for recovery. I don't qualify
What
to be where whatever the goal is, to be in.
What do you
Remission.
mean? I'm
Qualified to help someone else?
I don't feel like I qualify to be healed of my condition.
You mean you're not
Meaning,
working?
let her
Which
speak, baby.
I feel like I don't qualify to be healed of my condition because I'm in that space of wanting the fried chicken. So there
So
and
what?
and the question is,
Yeah.
no one else can issue that credential.
Listen, are you a worthwhile human being?
That's where
Yes
that's,
or no?
I think so.
Yeah, so do I. and I don't know you, but I think so. Look at me, I'm a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic, anorexic, binging drug addict, okay? I happen to be one of the nicest people I ever met. You could ask the girls, like I'm super, super nice, and I'm a super good girl, and I have a problem that I work on every single day, and every day I do my best to do my best. When I was in active addiction, did I have the right to reach out to ask for help? Of course I did. I'm a human being. You're a human being. You don't have the right to reach out your hand to somebody else and say, I'm hurting, I'm scared, I need some help. Of course you do. You talk about low self-esteem, that's like having no self-worth. You decide, you're gonna decide what you're worth. And when you decide you're worth it, because I really, every single day I think I'm worth it. And I'm gonna tell you that every time I reach out to somebody and I'm scared or I'm angry or I'm lonely or I'm crying or whatever, and the more you guys know me, the more I'll reach out to you, I think I'm worth it every single time. And you know what? If Joe Schmo doesn't think I'm worth it, then Joe Schmo isn't one of the people that I'm supposed to have in my little universe here. Right? That's my choice. So if I'm hanging with people that don't care enough about me to help me, I'm making some bad choices. Right? Because the people that I hang with, I care enough about them to do my best to help them. Right? Service. What does the universe want from us? Right? Put your hand out, put your heart out to someone who's happy or sick and suffering. You know, that's what I believe that the universe wants from us, is service. For us to do our best so that I can do my best to help you as well. So of course you deserve that. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more after, but we're gonna talk about you starting to do your gratitude list. That's gonna be your first step into I'm worth it. So you're gonna do 3 things that you're grateful for with us, and then your strengths for the day, and start looking at your own strengths. Everybody, do you guys think that the addict who's living under a bridge doesn't deserve your hand if they ask for it? Of course they do. Then why wouldn't you? What have you done that's so bad or so wrong? And by the way, you haven't done nothing. Every single person, not in this little room, but all the 3,000 people that are going to watch this video tonight, and by the way, 3,000 people watch our videos when we live stream. There's nobody out there, right? Anybody chime in if you want to, that hasn't at least done what you've done. There are definitely people out there. So, me being a binging, anorexic, drug addict, alcoholic, hi, that puts me in really good with a whole lot of folks that have done what I do. That don't make me special. Our addiction, you guys, makes us the same as everybody else. Don't make us any more special. Doesn't make me any better than you, and it doesn't make me any worse than you. It just makes me an addict. Okay, being a woman, an empowered woman in recovery, that changes me, because that allows me to be of service. And so as soon as you tweak your perspective, because our whole entire life is just the way that we see it. So as soon as you tweak your perspective a little bit, and you start seeing your worth, that's when you can reach out your hand to somebody else and help them. What's her name? Marianne Williams, that writes about our greatest fear. Isn't that where, does anybody know that writing? Mm-hmm. I don't have a phone, so I can't Google it right now, but somebody out there does. You know, our greatest fear isn't that we're not good enough, it's that we're great. You know, if I don't shine my light, if I don't stand up and I don't stand into my greatness, I can't help nobody else.
It is her.
Yeah.
Williamson.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would read it, but I'm old and it's too small. So, but maybe we'll do that another time. But that was amazingly honest for this person that I just met, that I don't even know, to share in front of a group of people that you don't know. So I commend you for that courage, because that took a whole lot of courage to say. I don't know if you've ever said that before. That was super courageous, so thank you for that. Thank you. And I promise you, you're not the only person that feels like that. And I promise you, you saying that just helped somebody else. That was you being of service. You know, every time you talk about how you have cravings all the time, so do zillions of other people out there. At least
I
you're
have
freaking
cravings,
out of us,
because
not
once
the
the
sickest.
physical cravings are gone, the emotional cravings are still there.
Yeah. And so you guys know addiction doesn't have anything to do with what we're using, right? Doesn't have to do with the drugs or the food or the alcohol or the sex or the gambling, right? Addiction isn't a problem of a thing. Addiction is my problem with me, right? So as soon as I work on the things that make me feel the way that I feel, so badly about myself and so insecure about myself and all of those things, all of the ways that I feel bad that I don't want to deal with, once I learn for me to get better spiritually, and I learn how to let go of the things that I need to let go of, and live in today, still looking forward to the stuff that's going to be great. Once I learn to live like that, that's a person in recovery. It don't got nothing to do with the end product is just a really bad, our addiction is the excuse, and whatever we're picking up is just, it's a problem with a really, really, really bad, what we think is a solution. So I'm sad, or I'm sick, or I'm hurt, or I'm mad, or I'm all of those fear-based things. So I'm gonna drink, or I'm gonna eat, or I'm gonna drug to change the way that I feel. How about if we realize that feelings aren't facts, they're just feelings, and that they go away, and that we don't have to change them by using. We could actually change them by reaching out to another person in our community, or by helping another person in our community. That helps too. And you guys know we're gonna have classes, so we're actually gonna learn how to do this work. Because the work just doesn't come, it just doesn't come by us chatting about it. So, and I always point my hand to Angie, because she's one of my sponsees, and she did an amazing amount of work, and has done an amazing amount of transition, right? Right. Right. Wow, so thanks for talking about the cravings, and remember that how you feel is how everybody else feels, and you're so new. You know, I've been out with people that have 20 years in recovery. I was actually out with somebody, and we were picking up dinner, and everybody was sitting at the bar, and we had to sit at the bar. And this guy at the time had about 18 years clean, and he was like, I can taste the Jack Daniels in the back of my mouth. And that's 18 years clean. So to deny it is stupid. To accept it as the way that it is sometimes is a lot easier. And to remember that just because we're an addict doesn't mean that we're a horrible, terrible person. It just means that we're an addict. Our brains work, they're defunct in some ways. Most addicts, you guys, get a whole lot of stuff done. We're usually super productive people. I mean, if you think about all the thought we put into getting to where we need to get to use, right? Surrounding ourselves with the people that we need to surround ourselves with, making sure that the events are the correct events. Who would ever go somewhere where they don't serve alcohol? Like, I couldn't believe people used to go out to dinner somewhere where they didn't serve alcohol. Like, who would ever do anything like that? It was beyond me. I couldn't believe that they even would make a restaurant like that because anybody would come. Like, it takes a lot of thought and preparation and action, right? And so when we turn that stuff around to help ourselves and to help other people, then we get to do that for the universe instead of just feeding our addiction.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, and I'm going to say too, and I'm going to say this in front of everybody, but I'm really proud of you because your demeanor, I don't know if you've realized how much you've changed, but since I've known you, the way that you present is really different.
I'm happier.
Yeah, you're happier and you present softer and not so angry, and not angry, you guys, means not afraid. And so you share a lot more, and you've changed the way that you look at things, which is very apparent to me.
Thank you.
And I wanted to commend you for that because I think it's amazing. I really do. And I know that you're going to put in the work and work on your recovery. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to reach your hand out to somebody else. And that's one of the things that's going to fill you up. You know, we're out there and we're looking for other things to fill us up, like relationships and drugs and sex and all of that stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in a relationship or you shouldn't have sex. I am saying you shouldn't do drugs. Just say no. But still, there are other things that we could do as healthy adults, when we're spiritually better, to reach out our hand to help somebody else that actually is super fulfilling. You know, you guys, I come here after working 11 hours. And I come here and I'm pissed off, right, Ange? And I'm like, I'm so tired, and I know I'm gonna love running this meeting, but I hate that I have to do it at 9 o'clock. And by the way, I don't have to do nothing. So I choose to do this at 9 o'clock at night. But when I do it, it gives me a buzz. I have to tell you, like, seeing you smile instead of your face being the way that it was, and I'm gonna say, seeing you angry right now makes me happy. Because you're deep in it, man. Like right now, you're deep in it. She's hating on me right now.
She hated me the last 2 days.
Yeah, and that's okay. And so right
Why?
now,
Angry.
she says,
You're doing it together.
Well, I was going through my own thing.
I piss her off all the time.
in half
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
I was
no,
going through my own
but
thing, and
you know what?
I decided like exercise was a good
Yeah, she
give me
wrote
the
all of
avenue.
it.
So when she
But-
told me, I was like, perfect.
Is
this
there
whole
jello
week.
in the fridge
And
at
she's like,
home?
no,
Like,
that's not what I meant. And I
Yeah.
was like, you're going.
But
She was
you,
stuck.
you're doing the work.
She had to eat her
And
words.
so
hardly
you
wanted
going
to.
through this, guys, and so you doing the work and you going through what you need to go through, it makes me happy. So, and I know that you know that there's a, you know, you might want to make yourself a little calendar of 10 days and start marking off your days. It probably won't take you 10, but
The
it
end of the
might.
month.
On
So,
day 3.
The end of the month.
yeah. So if you make your 10 days, excuse me guys, and you mark off today's day 3, do you know that in a couple of hours, it's day 4?
I know, it's like the trip. There was like that bike on Monday. I kept looking at the minutes. I'm like, this is never gonna end. This is never gonna end.
Right?
Like, I have to get off this thing. I'm gonna cry. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm passed out. I'm
But
throw
it
up.
did
I'm gonna
end.
do something, but I've got to get out of here.
And so this part of the misery, the fatigue and the cravings and the wanting to drink, that part is going to get a lot easier. And then you'll start working on your recovery, which is just going to make your whole entire life a lot easier. But I'm really proud of you that you're doing it. I'm so proud of you. How long have I been talking to you about this?
I don't know, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years that you come in to see me a couple times a year, right?
Yeah, because I don't want to hear it. That's why
Yeah.
I come a couple times.
Yeah, so she doesn't do her follow-ups in my office because she hates me. But you're doing it, man. So that's the thing, right? And so I'm just really super proud of you.
I did my follow up last time.
Yeah. Yes, you did. So I would have to ask your permission probably, maybe it wouldn't be good. Because I was going to ask if I could say what you asked me, but I'm going to ask you privately, and then if you give me permission, I'm going to say what you asked me. Do you remember? Can you whisper it to her? She's going to whisper her to see if I have permission to say out loud what you asked me about this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Molly comes into the office where I don't know if we're going over whatever we're going over, and I've been asking her to look at Why Wait for Recovery online, you know, and just whatever, and do your food logs and do this. And she said, so if I come to this meeting, it's going to be a bunch of fat people talking about being fat
And crying.
and crying. And I was like, no, it's going to be a bunch of fat people talking about recovery and crying.
It's better than Weight Watchers because I went to Weight Watchers a few times and I go in happy, and then during the hour all they talk about is how to substitute this for that.
Yeah.
So basically they talk about food and I get out hungry.
Yeah, of course
I
you
go
do.
in good and I leave hungry.
Yeah.
I went a few times and I never went there again.
And you guys, if you're an overeater,
At least here we don't talk about food.
yeah, if you're an overeater, that's different. And so when you're an overeater, to go to a program where they're going to change the amount of calories that you have or whatever, that's different. With addiction,
Wow.
you guys, that's like me as an alcoholic. I'm going to go to a meeting and I'm going to learn how many shots of tequila I'm allowed to have in a day. Because if I don't do 26 shots of tequila today, then I'm not an alcoholic anymore, right? Or maybe we'll switch. I'm going to switch my tequila for vodka. So I can have 3 vodkas, 1 beer, and 6 glasses of wine instead of 28 shots of tequila. It doesn't really work that way in addiction, you guys. It doesn't. So when you go to something like that, and again, if you're a person that needs to lose weight because you're not watching what you're eating and you're not an addict, that's awesome. If you need to make some type of spiritual change and stay away from the stuff that's keeping you an addict, that's different. Then you do the work on yourself. And I'm going to tell you guys something. When you get to hang out with addicts who are in recovery, who have made that change spiritually, that are able to help other people. You guys, when I say spiritual, we're not talking about any kind of religion. We're not talking about nothing like that. So for me, spirituality is honesty, hope, faith, perseverance, courage, brotherly love, integrity, those things that make us humane. So when you get to hang out with those people, like, you get to learn a lot of good stuff, and their language is different, and they're a bit, as crazy as we are, is as great as we can be. And that's what you guys have to look forward to as empowered women in recovery. That's what you gotta look forward to. Did you want to say anything else? Did you want to share anything? She's like, no, I'm not talking to you no more. I'm done talking to you.
Well, I mean, the real reason I'm here is because I was going through my own thing, and I don't like to push anything on anybody, but when she told me on Sunday about this, because she actually came here and recognized somebody that I know that was here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was afraid that it was going to get back to me somehow, some way, whatever, just because of what she's going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to this person, and she had told me about it, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds great. I think it's great that you're going. I would like to go to something like that.
Who told you about it?
The other person that she recognized here. I don't want to say any names.
Okay.
But anyway, long story short, when she told me, I was like, I think that's great. You should be so proud of yourself. And that's when I was like, listen, I'm going through my own thing. So come with me to exercise. We don't have to go to the bar. We could sit at the juice bar,
Right.
and talk the same nonsense that we were sitting at the
And,
alcohol bar.
and remember what you talked about.
Right,
Right.
right.
That's
And
the
feel
best.
great the next day. And,
Right.
you know, so that's
And feel
really why I'm
fresh.
here.
She picked me up tonight, and my husband's like, you two better not be pulling any shit. You better not be coming home at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Although he
Yeah.
does trust me to be the one to look
Yeah.
out for her, because I know, you know, like, how to handle her, and knew her limits and stuff when we did go out. But I told her, I said, Molly,
I have so many things to say about that.
didn't know how to tell you that I decided that I didn't know how I was going to pull away from the group that likes to go out and drink all the time, but I know that that's not where I need to be. I have thyroid issues, I have stuff going on that it's the last thing that I need to be doing. So I'm your girl, you know, I'm your person. I'll go wherever you want to go. I'll get you into the gym. I'll get you wherever
guys-
positive we can go.
That's a
I'm not-
great thing. It's a buddy system.
Accountability, so Andrew's my accountability partner for the gym, which we started, and I'm gonna talk about the word hate, you guys, because I hate going to the gym, like hate. Like, I don't know anything that I hate more than that.
I used to
But
hate it.
anyway, because I have an accountability partner, and even the other day, we were in the car together, and I'm like, you know, should we really go today? Because maybe we should go shopping. And she's like, no, we're going to the gym, and we did, and then I felt great after. So having an accountability buddy with your food, with you, so you guys know to pre-plan your meals, and if you pre-plan your meals and you have somebody that you're texting your meal plan to, makes you accountable, makes you guys accountable to each other. And it really does help to have that, even that, though it's a tiny bit of support, it really is. I find it super helpful, and most people find it super helpful as well. Were you gonna go to that spin class by yourself?
No, I was
NFW.
already thinking.
I don't like
Excuses.
to force anybody, but she did say, what time are you guys going to be done? Because I'll meet you at the juice bar, which is next door. And I was like, why don't you just try the class? And she's like, no. I was like, Molly, I will never bother you again if you don't like it. Just try it once. It's you sign up for free. It's a free trial class, whatever. And she was like, and she handed me her phone to like do it, to sign her up for
Yeah,
it.
and you
I was
guys,
like, okay.
remember, once we say yes to something, we've put ourselves out there to change. And I don't care if that change is for the good, it's scary.
Yeah.
Any kind of transition is scary. Even when that transition is for the better, still scary. And you guys, the number one scary thing is, what am I gonna do when I don't have my addiction to fall back on? Sunday I'm gonna read, there are 5 words that are part of every addict's vernacular, but in this writing, he says, the thought of living with our addiction is almost impossible, but not as impossible as the thought of living our life without our addiction.
I didn't have any less fun going to the raw juice bar than I did
Of course.
sucking down drinks at Blue Martini.
That's
you
probably
know?
cheaper.
Can
I
we
was
go
just
back
gonna
to
say,
what you
yeah,
said?
the
The
Yes.
fear
$6
of
juice.
losing.
We still have fun.
So, you know, us living with our addiction is horrendous, right?
When
It's
you
almost
when
as-
you say the fear of losing our addiction, you mean
living without our addiction.
living without the addiction means not having the joy in the stuff,
Not-
the orgasmic feeling.
Right,
about
not,
certain
not,
things?
Not having when I'm sad or scared or
Not having something to
fearful or
fall
want,
on.
Right.
To stuff
not
to
having
fall
what I
on.
think is my quick fix, right? To stop
Okay,
myself.
that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
not having the addiction, but acting on it.
Right.
When you said, I forgot exactly what words you used, but when you said, what do you have when you don't have your addiction? I literally thought, I find a new addiction.
Of course you did. That's what everybody thinks.
But then it's
That's so normal.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thinks.
I don't get it.
What
In
is
other
the
words, when I'm
chicken
not
and-
picking up food, I'll drink.
That's
Or
not-
I'll
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Under eating stuff.
Yeah, right. Or I'll become anorexic. So a lot of
You
people
should
do
call me next time I
anorexic.
hate fried chicken. I'll take
Well,
it.
that's why so many people who lose a lot of weight become trainers because they replace, but it's a
Yeah.
good addiction. So
Yeah.
they get their fix
Not
from
always, because that's what
exercising.
I felt like. Like I was like too focused on I'm gonna work out twice a day and 3 times a day and like and try to like channel instead of going out and doing this, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm like, okay, Michelle, you gotta like balance things.
So
out.
here's the thing. Thank you for saying that. How do we know when something's an addiction or we're just being really great at something? And I'll tell you how we know. As soon as we have to obsess about it, if I go to the gym and I'm going to go to 3 and I'm going to take my shower at 4:30 and then I can call so-and-so who won't even know that I went to the gym and then I'll call them and I can go with them. I really won't sweat that much, so I'll do this and then if I shower and then I could go ahead and I can go back or I could actually walk to the gym.
But some people
When
are like
you're-
that all the time.
When
They're just obsessed about everything.
Okay, and so that's why I say addiction has nothing to do with what we're picking up. It's usually
The
a
chemistry, the
physical
wires.
craving and a mental obsession.
Mhm.
That's what addiction is. It's a mental obsession attached to a physical craving. Your physical craving is food, mine might have been Percocet, yours could be the way that you feel after you work out. When it's an obsession and it's in our head and we have to be thinking about, trust you me, I don't think all day about when's the best time for me to go back to the gym. I don't have any obsession about it. I don't. So I know I'm never going to get addicted to working out. Ever. So,
Very few people who cross that door would.
exactly. So, but you know what I'm
But
saying?
that's
So
other
it's not
people.
something that I have to think about. There are people out there, and perhaps people in this room, I don't know if somebody online wants to share, anybody else wants to share, about having that addiction, about being, having your life and your day and your world plan around when you are going to work out. Because I could eat this many calories and I could burn this many calories. And that's all thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I knew you were hinting at that.
Yeah, it was.
So I used to work out like 3 or 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I would count everything I ate, and it was very obsessive. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight. I was really skinny.
How many calories were you burning a day?
Probably 5,000 calories a day.
Wow.
Because I went, but I worked really hard. I made sure I was efficient as well. It's part of my.
Yeah, it's so great when you're really smart, by the way. Addiction recovery is a lot harder when you're real smart. It is.
Because you can cheat yourself.
Yeah, exactly. We manipulate ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was an obsession for her. Okay, I could eat this amount of food and I can work out this amount of hours and I know, and I can tell you to the friggin' kilocalorie. She knows what every single thing you put in your mouth,
It'll never go away.
the
It's in there.
caloric intake,
Mhm.
and the caloric out, how you get rid of those calories. If you ask her right now, so if you do 15 minutes doing blah, 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 she's going to tell you, yeah, you burn 203 calories, like just like that. So it's like being with an encyclopedia of calories. But, and so that was an obsession. As an anorexic, the obsession is just, I'm never going to eat more than 300 calories a day, ever. So, and it's different, and you think about it, oh my God, what's going to happen if I take a bite of that food and I might get thirsty later, and so I'll have some water, but if I have some Diet Coke, I'm not sure if it's really going to actually raise my insulin level, so maybe I shouldn't do that, and if I just eat the quarter of the sandwich, and then I can lay down for a little bit because I'm going to be exhausted, but then if I walk around the block when it's hot, it's an obsession.
So you try to cut corners differently, and it's always a different way of cutting corners?
Yeah, it's just thinking, and it becomes the most important thing in your life. Where and how and who and why am I going to go to, do, where, think, say, find, to feed those thoughts that I have in my head, those obsessive thoughts. So with addiction, there's always obsession. And if there was an obsession, then we wouldn't be fat, or drug addicts, or alcoholics, or dying of skinniness, or having sex 50 times a day, or spending every last penny of my money, and your money gambling. All same, you guys, same. Ain't no difference. I love how you guys still look at me, and I know that you guys do. You know, we talk about, yeah, like I was gonna be the homeless addict on the street. Like Dr. Felice, like she's going, like, yeah, you know, if I didn't go into treatment 10 years ago, I would have been homeless. I had me and my car and nowhere to go. And that's what my family did because I couldn't stop trying to kill myself. And they were like, deal, which was the best thing. Thank you, Susan. I love you so much for saving my life. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. But that's who I am. And it's funny, you could shake your head like this, oh my God. But if I told you guys I used to weigh 300 pounds, you'd be like, oh, you're doing great. Right? That's so good. But not with the, ooh, I hope she wasn't doing that. It's the same shit, man. Just looks different on the outside. Same. The problem is the same. Our really bad solution is the only thing that looks different. Did you want to share anything else?
There's a placement trigger. I get home from work. I feel the need to reward myself for during another day of work.
Yeah.
It's like being at the carnival and you use the water pistol to hit the hole that inflates the balloon, and you managed to pop the balloon and you won. Now you get to pick the prize on the back wall.
And so you go home and you reward yourself with?
There's a selection.
Okay.
It could be banana, it could be bread, it could be graham crackers.
So you reward yourself with eating something, right? And then after, how do you feel?
That was so useless. That accomplished nothing.
Okay, and then do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel a little guilty?
A little bit.
Because you let yourself down.
Sure did.
Right? And so now you feel like shit, right?
I do.
And so you reward yourself by picking up a baseball bat and slapping yourself over the head with it. That's how you reward yourself. That's how crazy we are. Because we don't see that through for the next 15 minutes after. You know? Drinking a bottle of tequila seemed like a really good idea at the time. But a couple of hours later, it doesn't look as pretty as it did before. Right?
That tummy ache wasn't perfect.
So, but it's, you know, and for me, it's not the vomiting and the almost dying and practically going into liver failure or any of that stuff. What it is being so spiritually broken in the end, you know, of giving away every single bit of humanity. You know, you guys, addicts say, I lost this and I lost this. We don't lose nothing, man. We give every single thing away, including our humanity, right? Including the part of us that makes us human, including the part of us that lets us wake up in the morning and say, wow, today is Wednesday. I'm going to go to work, which is going to be awesome. And then I'm going to go home and sit with these bunch of crazy women who I love so much, right? And I'm not going to know how to do YouTube or, sorry, Haiti, and whatever else we're supposed to be doing out there correctly. And we'll have a little tip about it and whatever. And then we're going to run a meeting, which I'm too tired to do. And in the end, my day is perfect. It's a perfect day. And in the end, I'm grateful. That's how I am now. It took a long time to get there, a lot of money. Can't even tell you how much money was spent on my recovery, thank God. But it beats the hell out of being where I was before. You guys, when you're in active addiction, I don't care what anybody says, you wake up in the morning scared. Every morning scared. Oh my God, it's another day. What's today gonna look like? Okay, just today, I promise myself, just for today, I'm not gonna have the da-da-da. I swear, today's gonna be the day. I swear that I'm gonna do it today. And you don't do it. and you feel guilty and you feel ashamed, and it makes you so broken because you're walking around ashamed and in fear, and that sucks. Fear sucks, and lying sucks, and covering up shit, which is lying, sucks, and lying to ourselves sucks, and being so scared about the way that we are and thinking that we're so horrible that we can't pick up the phone and say, you know what, I'm about to eat fried chicken right now, talk me off the ledge. So the other person can laugh at you. Do I laugh at you all the time?
Yes.
Laugh at you about no matter what it is you're telling me, and help to talk you off the ledge. Because I've been there, man. I've been on that ledge. I lived on that ledge for quite a while. And so has everybody else. Reach out. Reach out. When you're going through something, reach out. I'm telling you, you reaching out is going to help somebody else. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, and if you feel like it's too unimportant, or I'm not important enough, or it's so stupid, or I'm so ashamed, remember that you reaching out might be saving somebody else's life that minute. So do it for that if you don't want to do it selfishly to help yourself. And I'm going to let you know that there's going to be a time that you're going to be able to walk around and say, this is what I do. And you know why I do it? I do it because I'm doing absolutely everything to keep myself happy and healthy and bettering myself so that I can help my family, my kids, and others. Hey, everybody, you want to know where I'm going to tonight? You might want to know all about it because maybe it can help you with something that you're going through. You're going to lose the embarrassment because you're going to lose the shame. All the cool kids are in recovery. Everybody is recovering from something. So you're not recovering from being 600 pounds. I'm sure there's something that you're recovering from. It just looks different. Recovery is about changing our perspective so that we can change our actions. It's got nothing to do with food or our weight or what we're drinking or not drinking, right? It's our perspective and then our actions. The only two things in this entire planet that we have control over, that we have power over, our perspective, which is the way that we see things, and our actions, which is the shit that we do, right? When we're well, all of that stuff plays out really nicely. When we're sick and sad and scared, it don't play out so nicely. When we're sick and sad and scared and we belong to a community and we know that we could reach out to somebody else, it makes it a whole lot easier, right? Life is going to show up, no matter what. And we talked about this. Someone's mom is going to die. Mine died a long time ago, but someone's mom is going to die, or someone's kid is going to die, right? Mine did a long time ago. You know, someone's car isn't going to start, and someone's boss is going to be an asshole, and someone's going to break their leg, and all of that stuff is still going to show up. And in community, we get help going through it. Right? You guys, if you go back to, you know, my PhD is in positive psychology. If you go back in time, psychology, whenever, 6 minutes left. 6 minutes left. Communities, she tells me. Whenever you go back psych-wise and find out what people are doing their best, they're doing best when they're in some type of community. People doing their best to help themselves so that they can help others. Right? It's kind of would be the ultimate definition of a utopia. Right? Is us helping ourselves so that we can help other people. Yes, maybe. Okay. But still though, so reach out to your community. There's nothing that you're going to tell her that she didn't do. Nothing. And if she didn't do it, then somebody else she heard from in this room did it. I used to go to a meeting and the guy that used to run the meeting would talk about all this crazy stuff that he did. It was a really big meeting, all this crazy stuff he did when he was drunk. And he would say like, okay, so how many people called home and said they had a flat tire at 2 o'clock in the morning and then actually went out and rubbed their shirt all over their tire so that when they went home, because that's their explanation, right, for being home 3 hours later, not that I was out drinking, right? And he'd say, how many people in this room did it? And like half the people would raise their hands, you know? That thing, you're not alone, is the truth, you're not alone. Yes.
Do we have time for viewer comments?
Yeah, of course.
So, Suzanne says, I don't agree with what you said about Weight Watchers because that's a program I follow, even though, of course, I am a food addict.
It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, and so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Weight Watchers, you guys. And I think Weight Watchers is amazing. I'm going to say it again for people that need to lose weight. When you're an
I'm the one who
addict,
said it. I'm the one who said it.
when you're an addict, you can't use your trigger foods. You can't. I can't have a drink of nothing. It doesn't matter what drink it is. It's still going to trigger my addiction.
Exactly.
Right?
And the substitutions that I heard at the meeting really just got my juices going.
Yeah.
I got exactly the opposite of what I wanted and what I needed when I went to
Exactly.
that.
And so it keeps you in the physical part of the addiction. So then you're working on the recovery part, spiritual recovery part, when you're still actively, your brain is actively asking you for a substance. Listen, Weight Watchers has helped people lose 863 gazillion pounds, and I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. I think if it works for you, it's worth absolutely everything. If you're an addict and you can't have starch because you're an addict, just like you can't have crack because you're an addict, then you can't have it. Simple as it is. My patients that go to Weight Watchers that are food addicts, I tell them, do your thing, do your points, do your calories, do your everything. You're not allowed to have any rice, bread, potato, pasta, sweets. I don't care what the starch looks like or what the sweets look like. Just don't pick that as your choices. Then it's awesome. Then you could be an addict in Weight Watchers. Just don't be eating the stuff that's triggering your physical addiction. That just makes sense, right? That's physiologically the truth. That's not a feeling that I have. Physiologically, if we use what's our addiction, if we use what keeps our brains addicted, we stay addicted. So, we have anything else?
No.
Anything else that we want to close with? You know, sing Kumbaya or something like that? I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, and I want to thank everybody out there who's watching. I'm going to ask everybody out there, if you know an addict who's sick and suffering, put out your hand, man. Maybe you're the one person that can help that other person. And if you know an addict that's in recovery, that's doing great, or that's in recovery that's not doing great, give them a pat on the back because they deserve it. And if you haven't used today, give yourself a pat on the back because you deserve it. And if you did use today and you're here because you're trying to take that first step, give yourself a pat on the back because you deserve it. Yes.
Anyone that needs, I mean, we're all connected through the WhatsApp. So we see each other's numbers. You can call. You can call me anytime.
Yeah, of course you can.
I answer the phone unless I'm on a phone call and then I call back. I always pick up the phone. I don't scream at
And you guys out there, anybody can IM one of us. IM Why Wait for Recovery, and someone for sure is going to get back with you. And that's Why Wait, WEIGHT, which I guess they know, right? Because they're watching it. I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. I'm blessed and grateful for everyone out there who's helped me this much or loads. I'm blessed and grateful for all of you, and enjoy your night. Enjoy your recovery. Be happy. I wish you serenity. Peace out. Awesome.
Do you need a finger?
Do we need to shut everything up? And we're done.